All right, we're going to check out, shoot, and review this red dot and magnifier combo by Feyachi. Comes with this nice box here. It actually looks like a scope box to me, but obviously I already have her mounted up there. Hopefully the wind doesn't blow this stuff away. It's nicely packaged, I think. Comes with plenty of screen wipes there and whatnot. Obviously your instructions and everything.
On their website it states a 1-year warranty, but the paperwork that came out of this box says 3-year warranty for both the red dot and the magnifier, so take that for what you will.
It does come with caps for the red dot. I think it just comes with it because if you buy the red dot separately, you know, obviously it comes with the caps. If you're going to have it set up to where you can flip the magnifier over, and it clears with the caps installed, opened or closed as they are now. Anyways, back to the box. So as you can see there, it's got a slot for everything. It comes real nicely packed.
They wanted me to share with you guys that during Amazon days, July 11th and 12th, they'll have a significant discount on all their products. They gave me a link I'll be putting not only in the description, but probably in a pinned comment as well. But as you can see there, discounted price on all their products. The link is supposed to take you to their deals page, I guess. I think similarly, you can just go to their main store site on Amazon. You can find any Feyachi product, and then at the top of the listing will be the Feyachi store. Click on that and then go to menu and then click on deals in the menu, and I believe it takes you to the same page if the link doesn't work.
I already got the battery installed, so it comes with an extra. Obviously it comes with all the little hardware and wrenches you need to install. Looks like there's extras in there because I already have it fully installed. Little screwdriver. So it comes with a good array of extra stuff there and all the little tools you need. If you're interested in any of the other stuff I have on here, like the flip-up sights, the bipod there, the laser light combo, I'll have links in the description for that as well. But I think I'll also start by this point in time here. By the time you see this video, I'll have a products review playlist up on the channel, so you'll be able to check them out in there as well, along with everything else I've been reviewing, products and whatnot, scopes. So, anyways, there's a setup. You got your on-off here.
This Optic also has a shake wake option. If you leave it on for 1 hour without moving it whatsoever, it'll shut off by its own, and then as soon as you pick it up and move it again, it will automatically kick back on its own. Battery is supposed to last for a few thousand hours, so 1 hour is no time whatsoever. Or just simply turn it on and off with the power button like I do in this video. And while I have you here, it's rated to handle up to 800 Gs of shock, which per my research, it should be able to handle up to a 308 caliber.
You got your up and down brightness settings there. I think there's like 10 or 12 different settings. It's crazy. It goes down to really, really dim. So if you're trying to shoot, you know, at night, self-defense scenario, whatever, it's not going to blind you. It also goes plenty bright for broad daylight use. Pleasantly surprised with the build quality. Seems pretty well made. That's not going to work because my rifle is a rattle trap, but these are pretty solid. There's very little play whatsoever in here. Doesn't really move at all. So very good tolerances on that. It's pretty easy to manipulate. Switching it over, you push it in the pin, and then it locks in place. And then to swing it back out, you just depress the pin again, and then it locks in place in the out position. This is a 1 to 5x, I believe it is. Your red dot there, it's got like this black honeycomb thing in there, which is designed to like break up light, so it's just more clear for you. Although I have seen videos where you can remove that if you want, so that's a possibility as well if you don't like that. Honeycomb thing in there, which to me it doesn't bother me at all. You got a diopter here. You see I got mine back pretty far because I'm pretty blind. So you got a diopter here so you can adjust it for your eyesight, for whatever focus you need for your eyesight. The red dot actually has a really nice fine dot. I'm surprised, especially for the price point. I don't know what, again, I would have had the specs up by now, but I mean, it seems like a 2 MOA to me. It's very, very small. And even as you get higher and higher in the brightness, it doesn't really grow much larger. A lot of others I've used, the brighter you turn it up so that you can see it, the bigger and fuzzier the dot gets. On this one, it's not really occurring at all. It's a very nice fine dot. So I'm really going to like that, especially for precision out on the rifle range, which I will get this thing out on the rifle range in this video, but we're going to start out on the pistol bay here so I can get this thing zeroed and whatnot. And 22 mag should be able to knock down some of that steel. This is my 20-inch stainless 22 Magnum upper by BCA. I'll put a link in the description if you want to go check that out as well. The review video on that. Love it. That thing is accurate out the 500 yards. I have a 500-yard video on it as well. For that and more, check out the 22/Rimfire playlist on the channel. But anyways, I got a fresh target up there, so I'll get to work zero in this thing. Right, I was just aiming for that big red oval in the middle. There's my 2 shots right there. So we need to come up a considerable amount and then off to the right about an inch. Now keep in mind this is close range. I was only shooting about 7 yards there, maybe 8. So, well, you know, we can zero it for here, which is extremely close range, but out at the rifle range, you know, 25, 50, 100 yards plus, you'll have to re-zero for whatever range you're shooting for. Or you might get lucky and it'll be pretty close for you. To zero this thing, take these caps off here. The one on top should be your elevation. All right. I'm getting no chance to talk today. All right, happy to report nice audible clicks that I can feel as well. All right, let's see how much closer that gets us. And for how much I had to move that thing, that was a great guess. That's pretty much dead on now. I need to just go like another click or 2 up and to the right as well. But hey, that's pretty good.
For those who aren't aware, this is pretty normal. If 1 click is to equal 1 inch of movement at 100 yards, then up here at only 7 yards, it's going to be less than 1/10 of an inch of movement. Therefore, you will need many clicks up close to move it several inches.
I missed that one a few times because I was trying to hit the very top of it. It's being stubborn on the previous round. Didn't want to fall over, so I missed a few left and right. So I'm also not at a comfortable position to try to get you this guy's shot. I'm kind of like just bent over, pivoting it off my shooting bag there. But I thought it'd make for a cool perspective for the video. Alright, this time we use the magnifier, but I'm just going to have it on the low setting, 1.5. Okay, so it's 1.5 to 5x there. So obviously you wouldn't be using a magnifier this close. The whole point of the magnifier is to zoom you in there. I got to do this with 2 hands now. The rifle's pivoting on me. Anyways, I'll use the magnifier in case you're, you know, maybe you're stuck in a scenario where you have the magnifier in front of it, but you got it all the way down. It shouldn't be any issue even at this close range. So that's what I'm going to do. Screw this back down to 1.5x and I'll use the magnifier. Alright, so obviously some of those were stubborn and didn't want to fall over even though we hit them. I think I only had 1 miss. Alright, but that does it for here at the pistol base, so now we'll head down to the rifle range and make some longer range shots. Alright, here we are down on the rifle range. I got a same target we were just shooting, set up there at 50 yards, see what kind of, I guess, groups we'll get, and check zero, because Remember, we're only zeroed at 7 yards, so it's likely still going to need some adjustment out there at further range. So we'll print some on that target, see how, if I need to adjust the red dot to get it completely zeroed. Then we'll go further out. I'm going to try to get at least 150, 200 yards in this video, but to start out, I got my 16-inch gong there set at 100 yards, laser rangefinder confirmed. But let's start out on this paper target here, see if we need to make any adjustments before we hit that plate.
All right, magnification on this thing is excellent. By 3x, which I have it on now, I can actually see my shots down there pretty well. The existing ones we already have on there. And then I turned it up to 5x and I can see them real well, so that's cool. I'll actually be able to see my group down there pretty easily. Alright, the only thing I will say is that about 4x, right at about 4x, and anything past that red dot, which is really fine, it starts to get kind of fuzzy and blurry a little bit. So up to 4x you still have a nice really fine dot, but 4x and up, and remember it only goes to 5x, so you get it almost all the way up before that dot gets a little blurry on you there. And I don't know if blurry is the right word. I wish I could show you guys this, but like I said, I already tried and my camera just will not focus through this thing, but it's more like a distortion than it is blurriness.
Here's the dot, by the way. I always have a real difficult time getting my camera to reflect what it actually looks like in person. This is a decent shot, but to my actual eye, the dot looks a little smaller than that. Definitely more bright and red, and more crisp and clear. It looks a little fuzzy in the camera photo here. Also, it is centered as I look through it. I just could not get the camera any lower. I was hitting the rifle.
Almost forgot my ears. Alright, I'm not seeing anything on paper yet. I did see some dirt and whatnot kick up behind the target, so we might be extremely high at 50 yards here. Let me utilize the camera if I can here. Let me see. Take two more, see if we can see where they're going. Yeah, that's definitely way high. I was shooting like a foot over the target. So, like I said, just because we're zeroed at 7 doesn't mean crap out there. Now, we're going to bring this down a ton, obviously. But bringing it down 2 feet at 50 yards, it's only going to make like this much difference at 7 yards. Which you got to remember, a rifle is designed, you know, long range. It's not meant for shooting close range like a pistol. So generally, if you have a rifle zeroed at 50 or 100 yards, it is going to be off at super close range by a few inches. But 2 foot adjustment at 50 yards out there is not going to make anywhere near a 2 foot adjustment at close range. It's only going to be a matter of a few inches. But rifles are supposed to shoot low at, you know, 7, 10, 15 yards because you generally have them set up to shoot further. So anyways, let's work on zeroing this thing. It looked pretty lined up. I might have to go left or right slightly, but it's mostly just high. So I just got to bring it down a bunch. So I'll do that. We'll bring it down a whole bunch, take a few more shots, and just work on getting this thing zeroed out there for 50 yards. Alright, yep, that's pretty close. It's pretty much lined up, maybe a hair left. Just need to go up an inch. So
The video is getting kind of long, so I just decided to skip the footage for this. But here's 2 groups I shot, the top red dot and the right red dot. Wasn't going for absolute precision, just kind of like fine-tuning a zero and whatnot, but I was still printing just a hair over an inch down here at 50 yards, even though I wasn't trying.
Alright, I'll just aim dead center at that gong down there. Again, remember, we do have a little bit of wind. I'll take 2 or 3 shots with you guys on 1x here on the camera, and then I'll get you zoomed in down there for the remainder. Hopefully you can hear that dinging down there. Okay, looks like we're averaging high right, but I'm still going to keep that center hold. That's probably due to this wind blowing off to the right now. All right, yeah, as you can see, I mean, that's a pretty decent little group down there. That's a 16-inch plate, so that's no more than a 4-inch group left and right, and no more than 3 inches up and down.
Keep in mind, a scope is still more precise, but also I wasn't going for accuracy. I was shooting kind of rapid fire, if you couldn't tell, so I was just holding the dot in the center and ripping the trigger off, so wasn't trying to print a super tight group or anything, so that was actually pretty good, I think.
And again, we do have, like, it's kind of varying crosswind, so that probably explains the 4 inches of left and right spread on that compared to the shorter up and down spread. Because this wind, it is kicking up and down. It's going back and forth between like 5 and 10 miles an hour. See, right now it just kicked up a little bit, so that is affecting it a little bit down there. So surprisingly, it's still high, even though, you know, we were a little high at 50. It's still high at 100 down there, so that's good to know. It shoots flat from 50 to 100 yards, so we could bring it down at 50 yards to do a 50-yard zero, and it's still going to be dead zeroed. At least with that ammo, I was using the Hornady 30 grain VMAX, and it's still going to hit the exact same spot for you down there at 100 yards, barring any wind and whatnot. But I'll just leave it like that, because like I said, we're going to go further. I think I'll just go ahead and take it out there 200 yards. It's going to have a few more hits on it, because I'm about to hit it with this pistol in a separate video I'm doing. But I'm going to leave it high there at 100 yards. That way I don't have to aim so high out there at 200, which again, obviously, I could just zero it for 200 if I want to. But let me get that thing out there, and I'll see you back up here when we're out at 200 yards. All right, got it set down there at 200 yards, got her painted back up fresh. Now, I was down there moving the target. This wind is pretty harsh down there. It's a lot stronger down there than it is up here. I can feel it blowing to the right real well, so that explains why our shots, I mean, I already said it, but was pushed off to the right at 100 yards. So down there at 200 yards, it's going to push them way more. So I'm probably going to aim high left to start, because I think that's what I'm going to have to do to get good hits on that plate. Again, if the wind dies down and then kicks back up, different wind velocities, especially on a little 22 Magnum, it's going to greatly affect it out there at 200 yards. So it's not exactly a precision accuracy day. It's just see if we can hit the plate out there at 200 yards, which I'm really confident we will. I'm just going to start out holding high left, because even though it was a little high at 100, by 200 yards, it's definitely got to be dropping down some. So I'll start out high left, and we'll make adjustments if we need to. And again, I'm shooting high left. I'm shooting high because I'm anticipating bullet drop at 200 yards. I'm shooting left because the wind is currently blowing the bullets off to the right. And that's as far as we'll be able to go today due to the wind. I'm pretty sure I could get 300-yard hits with that little dot, no problem. But for longer range 22 Magnum videos, I got 300, 400, and 500 yards. I got that exact rifle with a scope on there out 500 yards accurately. If you want to catch those, just go to the 22/Rimfire playlist on the channel. I'll have those in there and more. All right, so I'll get you guys zoomed in on the target. Hopefully you can hear little dings or something, at least see it out there. So here we go. Like I said, I'm gonna aim high left to start and make adjustments from there if necessary. All right, first shot was just high, but pretty well lined up, even though I was aiming off to the left, so I got my windage hold correct. So it's actually the elevation. Remember, it was high at 100, a few inches. I'm now using CCI 40 grain, and those are, with the way we have it set, other than the wind pushing it off to the right, it seems that the elevation for those is dead on at 200 yards with the way we have the red dot set right now. So now I'm just going to aim center, but off to the left side. All right, that one went just under, as I'm sure you saw. I was aiming at that left ear, so that could be some inconsistency in the ammo. Some might hit low, some might hit high. So what I'm going to do for these following, I think I have 7 left in the mag. I'm just going to keep aiming at that left ear for every single shot, regardless of whether they hit or miss, and we'll see what happens. That'll give us a pretty good indicator of, you know, if we have some going low and some going high, that's an indicator of like extreme spread on the velocity. And that would be the answer as to why we're getting high low. Now, if they all keep going low, then it means I compensated too much and I'll adjust after that. But These 7, let's take at that left ear. Again, I'm aiming off to the left because of the wind blowing to the right. Take these 7 shots all at that ear and see what happens. Alright, I lied. I can see that every single one is hitting the same spot. I was going to say, that's the exact same ammunition I used to get that thing out to 500 yards accurately. Seems to be pretty accurate down there at 200 yards, even in the wind. We keep hitting pretty much the same spot, like a fist-sized group. So I was just off on my elevation hold a little, so I'll aim just a little higher, and we got 4 left in the mag. These should all be hits. And there's your 4 hits in a row, as promised. 200 yards, no problem. It was just me trying to find where I need to hold with the wind, and not having shot this 200 yards yet, trying to find how high I had to hold. Again, obviously you could just zero that for 200 yards if you want, but I just left it as is. So a couple things I want to note here in wrapping this video up. Out there on those 200 yard shots, I did zoom it in all the way, but even with that slight distortion to that red dot out there at 200 yards, it was still no problem holding that dot on that ear. And the dot, even being slightly distorted, was about the same size as that ear there. So while it does distort it a little bit, for me at least, cranking it all the way up, like I said earlier, at 4x is right about where it starts, so you can get the 4x and still have a nice pretty fine dot. And then above 4x and it only goes to 5x, it starts to distort that dot a little bit, but it was still plenty for me to be able to make those shots at 200 yards, no problem, as you just saw. Still pretty confident I could do 300 if it wasn't for this wind. I'm not even going to try it today. It's way too windy for rimfire. The other thing, I did mess with this diopter here a little bit, so that helped a little with the distortion. It made it a little more clear for me, so that did help a little bit. I've had it just slight, like 50 yards, I had it a little bit different spot where I did at 100, and then at 200 a slightly different spot. So that's your diopter there, and it helps you kind of like get a focus for your eyesight. And then the other thing I noticed was that the clearance for how close you have to hold your eye so that you get the full picture, it was a little closer than I would like, but as long as you're keeping it on, you know, something like a rimfire like this, no problem. But 223, 762 by 39, 300 blackout, anything like that, it's plenty of eye clearance to where this thing's not going to come back and pop you or anything like that. I'm not sure on the measurement or anything, but so 200 yards. Right here is about where I would like to be, which that's about 3 inches. But back there, it's not quite giving me the full field of view, so I have to get closer to get the full field of view here. So right there. For me, that's how close I have to hold my face to get the full field of view. Right there. 2.5 inches, something like that. So it's still not bad. It's just, you know, I'm used to most scopes at least. Now this is a magnifier, not a scope, but most scopes I'm used to a 3 or 3.5 inch eye relief. So with this, it's a little closer than I'm used to, but like I said, that still gives you plenty of room for those other cartridges. You're not going to have to worry until you get up to like a 308. Maybe then it might kiss your cheek a little bit, but 223, 556, 762 by 39, 300 blackout, 6.5 Grindle, any of those calibers are going to be just fine with that eye relief. But I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Overall thoughts, I actually pretty impressed for the price. I don't think you can ask for more for the price range. I'm sure if you wanted to spend $500 or $600 for some real high-end stuff, you would probably have better clarity and whatnot. And that's the other thing I noticed too. A lot of the more expensive ones, most of the magnifiers, they only go to like 3x. It's really hard to find a 5x magnifier. And on that note, this is definitely true to zoom. I mean, when I was aiming all those distances, having it up on 5x, it brought the target so much closer. So it's definitely giving you 5x magnification there. And then, like I said, you can play with the diopter a little to get it nice and focused for your eyesight. The dot's real nice and small and crisp until you get up to about 4x, at least on my eyes. You know, other people, I have pretty bad eyesight, and I think I have astigmatism. So for other people that have better eyesight or are wearing contacts or glasses and don't have astigmatism and all that, it's probably going to leak even better than them. But even with my eyesight problems, plenty of clarity and whatnot to make those 200-yard shots very easy with a rimfire cartridge. So I honestly think with that dot, even on 5x with it kind of distorting it slightly, I think you can make 400-yard shots, or at least I could. And like I said, my eyesight's not the greatest. That's 400 yards right there at that mound. I think you can make 400-yard shots on a gong-sized target out there, no problem. So like I said, out here at 200 yards, that dot was the same size as the ear hanging off the left side there on my gong. So even at 400 yards, I don't think the dot would be covering the entire gong. But yeah, I'm super happy with it for the price point. It seems really well built also for the price point. Like I said, there's very little to no play. Everything works as it should. It doesn't creak or anything like that. You know, all the controls work well for not only the magnifier here, but also the red dot. I mean, it's held 0. And while this is a 22 Magnum, it's actually quite a rattle trap being the side charger here. You get a lot of like vibration and twang, twang, twang from the spring here. A lot of people complain about that. Instead of having the rear charging, the side charging, it really rattles the crap out of these rifles. But yeah, I love this thing, especially for the price. I mean, I was a little hesitant and kind of kept my feelings reserved. You know, didn't expect a whole lot for the price, but it has certainly exceeded my expectations. And I've actually been begging them for them to send me out this combo for a while. So it's not even like they're like, hey, you want to test this? Like, I actually requested this because I wanted this so bad, and I finally got them to send it to me. And again, it's no Vortex or Steiner or anything like that, but you can't beat it for the price. But we'll finally wrap up here, guys. Again, there's a link in the description if you want to go check this thing out. As I mentioned earlier in the video, if you're watching this on the 11th or 12th, I believe it was, offering a pretty decent discount on this and other products they make for Amazon Day. And get yourself any of the other products you see me use in the video: rangefinder, earmuffs, safety glasses, shooting bag there, the gong I use out there, and more. My paper target there and the stand. Links in the description for all that. Again, if you want to see this thing shoot 500 yards accurately, check out the 22/rimfire playlist. I want to thank you guys for stopping by and checking this one out today. I hope to catch you on the next one.